You're in the middle of explaining something that matters. And right when you start to get to your point, they respond with something like, "That's not what happened," or "You're overthinking it." And for a moment, you pause, because what you were saying just got dismissed. And now you're trying to figure out if you should keep going, or explain it again, or adjust what you were about to say. You may recognize the moment when the conversation starts to shift away from what you brought up, and you may notice yourself trying to bring it back to the original point, but something has already changed. Instead of continuing your thought, you're now responding to what they just said, and now you're explaining your explanation. Over time, this can start to feel mentally tiring, and it can leave you wondering why things never feel fully resolved. Because what often happens here isn't just disagreement. It's that what you said doesn't stay at the center of the conversation. For them, this can become useful, because what this often does is change the direction of the interaction. The focus begins to shift from what you were trying to express to whether your experience is valid. And as that happens, the conversation becomes less about understanding and more about explaining, correcting, or defending. Because once what you said is questioned, it becomes harder for it to stay as the main point. And now the conversation starts to move in a different direction, where you're trying to clarify instead of being understood. And now you're responding to them, instead of finishing your own thought. The interaction starts to center around what they just said, and as that continues, you're not fully able to finish what you're trying to say. So the original concern slowly loses its place in the conversation. This can begin to make it harder for anything to fully land or be understood. Some people describe this as a narcissistic communication pattern when it happens repeatedly, because over time, the interaction begins to center more around their perspective, while your voice becomes less present in the moment. If this happens once, it may be misunderstanding, but when it repeats, a pattern can form. In healthy conversations, both people stay with the original concern long enough to understand it. Many people respond by trying harder when the conversation doesn't feel clear, explaining more, clarifying more, trying to be understood. But that can keep the conversation inside the same pattern. Recognizing this can bring clarity, because it helps explain why things haven't been resolving. If this helped put words to your experience, like the video and subscribe to the channel. This channel exists to help you recognize narcissistic and manipulative patterns calmly, clearly, and without blame, so you can understand what's happening and trust yourself again. And when conversations unfold this way, another pattern often begins to form. In the next video, we're going to explain why you can't finish a sentence during arguments and how that pattern keeps the conversation from resolving. Click here to watch.